This podcast is brought to you by Living Swell Studios. When you want to record your next hit, broadcast your next live stream, or just need a quiet space to edit your videos, Living Swell Studios can accommodate all your needs. Located in New Orleans, they're equipped with a rehearsal hall, print shop, photography space, and more. Living Swell is your one-stop shop to facilitating your vision. Let them fulfill your music and video dreams. Hey y'all, this is daphessah Drew Bayham coming at you with another episode of Drew's Putting It Out There. This is going to be an interesting one because actually we have some perspective from a professional, if you will, someone who is very proficient in what they do, and so I'm very delighted to have as our guest Joli Burrell.
Hey y'all, hey.
And on my right, your left, my Sharia Moore, my 2A Bell, my thorn on my side, my thorn on my side, my thorn on my side, my thorn on my side. Get up for Maya, y'all. Returning. Yes. And formerly the Al Heyman of podcast.
Yes, sir.
Now newly called the Black Stan Smith.
Good morning, USA.
Good morning, USA.
Good morning, USA.
He's affectionately known as Roast Beef Jenkins. Give it up for Mr. Irv Darby.
Thank y'all. Happy to be here as always, Drew.
All right, yes sir. Now let's get into it because I am very interested to hear the perspective. About 2 episodes ago, we talked about the infamous or the famous, however we want to call him, Mr. Byron Cole, aka 7 Wall Karen. And we went at length with Dr. Bryce Miller about a lot of those things. But what I really wanted to do, I wanted to get, some type of point of view or some type of perspective from someone who is, highly invested in real estate amongst in this city right now. I'm gonna just recap. Byron Cole goes off on a lady who's blocking the street, without a permit, that type of thing. She sets him off. He triggers. He goes off, and his tirade is what made social media infamy. He annihilated that woman.
If you've never been cussed out by a New Orleans person,
that's
a pretty good example.
So New Orleans.
That's a great example of a New Orleans.
And so basically, we all kind of cheered. At the same time, we kind of cringed because of his delivery, but we understood the underlying theme. Mm-hmm. So, I just wanted to kind of put you out there because, like I said, I believe that, from a person who has bought and sold real estate and can see the change pretty much firsthand, kind of what that kind of is. I'm gonna give you the flow.
All right, so Byron Cole, bless his heart. Let me just say that, bless his heart. I remember his mom, and he's very much like his mom.
Oh yes, he is.
And his passion for our neighborhood, for New Orleans, and I totally get it. Gentrification, especially in New Orleans, can be a scary thing for our people, just because they feel like our culture or the culture that is New Orleans is being stripped away by the whites on bikes. Right. So it's just to from my perspective, I can understand the fear, but at the same time, they have to also understand that brings with the whites on bikes comes higher values for their property. One of the things that I encourage people to do is that if they have the wherewithal to hold on to their property in the Treme area, in the 7th Ward, in these areas that are gentrifying, keep your property.
Right.
Because, everything is for sale at the right price.
Of course.
Now is not the time. Right now they're coming in, people are coming in and buying at a lower values, but 5 or 6 years from now, those properties are going to be $500,000 properties or higher. So Byron Cole, I understand where he comes from, his passion. I think he could have been a little bit his delivery was not the best, but he is a typical New Orleans 7th Ward.
As I said, I think it's just so New Orleans.
He is so New Orleans and
passionate about it.
Exactly. So but I think that's why I was talking about it, because I know that your offices and a considerable percentage of real estate that you deal with is in New Orleans East.
Yep.
And I remember I saw maybe about a year ago that you posted or something like that, and you were talking about if you have property in the East, don't let it go.
Right. Keep holding on to it. Right. Hold on to your property.
Hold on to your properties, and so I think and it kind of rings to the sentiment that we have been feeling. Well, actually, Dr. Bryce Miller more than me.
Yeah.
He just went in, and so but I understood it. And so it's kind of like, I guess the only question I probably would ask is that, by any chance, do you see that the people like in New Orleans East, and we're just using New Orleans East as a kind of springboard off of it.
Right.
It's so much land. Because I think it goes, this type of thing is going on all over the country, especially in metropolises all across the country. And what was once thriving Black areas, are the ones that are just being they're like literally running it down. Right. To buy for pennies on a dollar.
So. So New Orleans, if you pay attention to what's been going on in New Orleans since Hurricane Katrina, really, it started, right? Of course, the lower ninth ward, the Byward area is what they call it now, right? It has a new name. And, we grew up in some of those neighborhoods, and going back into those neighborhoods, and I'm like, oh my God, Stalin's Gym, that was our playground. And the area is just totally different. So it started there, right? And then it's moving to Araby even. I think eventually, especially if the master plan for New Orleans East happens for real this time, which is a development of the old jazz land, and if Lincoln Beach comes back, oh my goodness. Property values are going to skyrocket. So all those people in East Shore right now, which is technically considered the hood or whatever, some people might consider that to be the hood, those property values are going to splurge. I mean, they are going to be, it's going to be crazy. So I think it's coming. I think New Orleans East is going to be the last piece of the development, just because they don't put resources there, and that's intentional. I think, it's very intentional. Right now, we have an issue where multiple homeowners were getting low appraisals for their houses in the really nice neighborhoods in New Orleans, Spring Lake, Lake Kenilworth, Barrington Estate, like all of the really nice, Eastover, all of these really nice neighborhoods, they are just, the appraisals have been awful. We have been complaining as real estate agents for a long time, and it sucks. But we see what's happening. If it's a white person, and if it's a white person, and you go and I actually did this myself with the client. We put white pictures in the house appraised finally. So that's a real thing. It's a real thing that's happening. So all I'm going to say is, if you have property in the 70128, 129 area, you might want to hold on to it for a little while, because if this development happens for New Orleans East, those values in Eastover will go back up. That was like the place to be when we were younger, right?
Crime.
Those property, in spite of the crime, it's going to surge. And then if you talk about crime, look at the French Quarter.
Right.
It's crime there. There's a lot of crime in the French Quarter. So that's not going to make a difference. It's happening.
The Caucasians will move in. They ain't scared.
Exactly.
And we'll ride their bike in a minute in the Bywater like what?
Yep.
You just got robbed 2 days ago.
Yep.
Still
But
keep
they
going.
don't care.
Yep.
Right.
Get right back on their bike and keep it moving.
And the main reason why I wanted that perspective is because I always, the last couple of years I've always been banging on the door of that and saying like, look, like it's the misdirection play. I know you play defense, like so you know the misdirection play, like you know this, all they're doing is getting you out, taking it buying for pennies on the dollar, and developing something that you're gonna want to come back to.
Yep.
Right.
So I'm I love to hear just not my perspective, and I'm not because I'm not a realtor. I haven't dealt in real estate in that manner, and so it's like it's good to like it's refreshing to know that like you're literally on the same page with someone who's proficient at that at that type of thing.
It's real.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, say for a person who never bought a home, but they try and transition from an apartment to a home, what's the process for that?
So the first thing you want to do is get qualified.
Okay.
Find out how much you qualify for, and then if there are any subsidies available for you. Because typically, first-time home buyers, there are subsidies out there. Especially in New Orleans, you can get up to 45. I think it's 50,000 now toward the purchase of a first-time.
Because they decreased it, right? They decreased it, because it was 65,000.
Yeah. So there are programs. That's the first step. Most people don't know where they stand. When you start there, find out how much you qualify for, and then we take the ball and we
go from there.
We go from there.
Simple.
Yep.
That's the
Very
question
simple.
I wanted. I was begging you. Did you first come to us? I need to ask this question for myself.
It's very simple. It's not intimidating at all. It shouldn't be.
All right, let's get to some nitty gritty because I think this is this is always going to be, a great conversation,
Right?
Especially when you have, people who are just people of the opposite sex who feel quite strongly in their beliefs. That's why I like this. I like this.
Right.
I'm an arguer. I like to argue. So
let's get his point. He's going to tell you why he's right.
So Maya and I had this discussion maybe about a week or so ago because we were watching a video from the Honorable Kevin Samuels.
The Honorable Kevin Samuels.
He calls himself the Godfather. I call him Parran. Parran Kevin.
Parran Kevin.
But as he was talking about, one of the main things that he talks about is gender roles. And his theory was around the same theory that I had before I even found out who he was. I believe that the roles of women and men, not only just in relationships, but in society in general. And I kind of, I make a parallel to, I have a company, and I have 100 employees, right? So in 1940, we were making 50-pound widgets. So more than likely, it was going to be 95 men, 96 men, maybe 4 women, because we're lifting 50-pound widgets, and we understood what the job entails. And more than likely, those 4 women were going to be in a administrative role rather than on the assembly line.
Right.
And on the assembly line. Now, I think part of that is just that, at that time, men were paid well, as in comparison to what they had to expend. So like in 1940, even black families, the man can literally make the money, all of the money, to support the household.
Right.
Like a house could really live from one income. And so it was an option for, the wife, the mother, to work in that, in that capacity. In comes 1965, and the Great Society, of Nixon comes in and says, okay, well, look, we have to figure out a way to have control of the black family. Mm-hmm. But we don't want to do it by the other means that we've been doing it before, civil rights movement, that type of thing. Where it's just that you were just killing all black men. Mm-hmm. That didn't work anymore. So what they did was they created, a new phase of the welfare state.
Right.
And they gave women a choice. Women with children with a choice. Either take the check that we're going to, this supplement that we're going to give you, or you stay with your man and you get nothing. So,
because he ain't going on the lease.
Right.
Can't put him on the lease. Can't put him on the lease. Not if you got Section 8. You can't put him on the lease.
Exactly. He ain't going on the lease.
He can't go on the lease.
And my mama would tell me stories about when she was young.
It's a shame.
I got stories about that.
Yeah, right. My mom used to tell me stories about when they were on, the welfare system, they used to have actual people come.
They come to your house.
To the house and inspect the house to make sure. And if there was any remnants of a man living in the house, they can lose.
They can cut you off.
They'll cut you off.
Yep.
But what they didn't bank on was the faction of women actually taking the check over their men.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have a new dynamic, which is detrimental to the core family.
Because it eliminates the black man altogether.
It tries to eliminate the black man altogether. So
now
in
the household,
right,
where he belongs.
So now that women can live, prospectively without a man, so it empowers them in those type of things, which was a good thing, but it really wasn't, because what it did was it made a tear into the black family.
Yep.
And so the generational attitude of women saying, I don't need a man.
Right.
Began in that.
Right. In that, especially in that sense, because if we're going to be honest, the sole purpose of a man in the relationship is to protect and to provide.
Right.
So if he can't do any providing, the only affection that he has is to protect. And so now you have men who are what I call get a job ass niggas.
Right.
Because that's just what it is. Like those, you'll do a little something on the side.
The under the table shit.
Yeah, Jody.
Right.
Now
some grass
Jody.
Right now we're creating. We're creating.
Jody. Oh my God.
Now we are creating generations of Jodys.
Yeah.
Mainly because with every generation, it is literally an option for the man to be there or not.
Right.
And so that's where the Honorable Kevin Samuels comes in, because that's the angle that he argues from.
Right.
And so I often talk about, the roles and like literally what roles are in a relationship. And so, I just kind of like, first of all, I like the fact because I think he's good for the culture.
Right.
And I think he kind of just holds a mirror up to where women see it. Now, I know I'm wrong.
Yeah,
so
he making women hold themselves accountable, whether they like it or not.
And I think that's where I'm at. I think what he does holds an accountability where accountability hasn't really been held.
Right.
For both?
Huh?
You mean for both?
Yeah, for
men
both.
And
For
women?
both men and women, because what it is that men, I think, here's the thing. I think men are watching people like Kevin Samuels because he said it in a way that's so simple. So we, first of all, we can understand it.
Right.
Because we're simple ass creatures.
Right.
He's
straight to the point with his information for men. He's like, look, it's not rocket science. Find you a trade, make you some money. You want to go to school, take the money you make from your trade, help pay for college.
That type
or
of thing.
is your DB?
Oh, is it? Exactly.
Crazy.
Well, like I said, I understand where that comes from. Why did he ask him that? Because one of the main reasons why is because the only, like for some men, the only faction that they have, the only attribute that they have is they slinging, slinging and dingling.
Right.
Yeah. And women will take care of them simply because he's taking care of them in that way. I understand. Now, like I said, but I think the question or whatever I want to put out there is that, what is right? What do you think is right about him and how he, puts about the role of genders, or what's wrong?
I think he's right because he gives some type of direction of who need to play which role based off of the personality of a man and a woman. Like, for example, me and my mom was talking on our way up here, and she says, during Katrina, when she came back, helped building the city back up, they had a guy who was a coworker. She was walking from headquarters to the courthouse back to where the traffic getting the computer straight. Every time he walked on the street, the guy kept on trying to walk on the side on the sidewalk where he's between the street and the sidewalk. So my mom would be on this side facing the building. And my mama said she didn't realize it till after a couple of minutes, like, oh, he's being a gentleman. And she said I had to play my role. I had to know my place. Like, okay, I know my place. He's doing this. He's trying to open doors for me. And my mom's like, I'm an alpha bitch. Like, sometimes you gotta tone it down. Like, relax. Like, let this man be a gentleman. So it gives it, because, like, it took for my mama to deal with Katrina to realize the role of what a man does. And she said, I never knew what a man have to go through as a man. For example, she said that during Katrina, she always wondered, like, why every time you go out there, you want to face the door? I'm like, I have to face the door. I have to know what's going on. So when something about to happen, I can know how to tell you, hey, let's leave. And she was just like, when she was with my sister during Katrina, she said, I have to be a man.
He looked at me because that's me.
Good, keep going.
Okay, she said during Katrina, she said, I had to play a man's role for a minute because you and your dad wasn't here. She said, look, I had to, look everywhere. And she said, when I went home, I was mentally exhausted. She said, I never know what men go through. I'm like, yeah. You also call worrying about the physical aspects of we got lifting stuff. Well, you can lift this, I can lift that at a job. But, like, do you know what the mental stuff we go through every day to be a provider and a protector for the women we love? Yeah. And Uncle Kev always breaks it down, shows that this is what men go through.
Let's just be clear. Y'all are fans. Uncle Kev, and this is the honorable Kevin Samuels.
Yeah. Well, I have a whole bunch of honorables.
Okay. I got you.
I have two.
I just need to know what we dealing with. Okay.
I have two honorables.
Okay.
I have a lot of honorables, but the Kevin Samuels is the taste, the flavor of the month. And so, that's why I give him credit where credit is due, because it takes a bold person to even put their perspective out there for the the purpose of trying to get you to see what that's it.
I could appreciate his honesty for himself, but he can't just say that one shoe fits all.
Right.
That's where I take an issue with, and then his grading scale is a little questionable. He's sassy. Yeah. I mean, he's a sassy guy. I'm not saying anything about it. I don't know him, personally, but I don't know if he's being sassy for his image, for to get the following that he has. Everyone, somebody that everyone loves to hate.
Right.
There's a lane for that. So if that is who he is,
that's his angle.
That's his angle. Then and if that's how he really feels, but he does strike a lot of valid points, especially with women, regarding the women coming out and just wanting a 6-figure guy. Like, that's just crazy to me, right? Like, because when you're dating, just for me personally, I never went into a relationship saying you got to make 6 figures.
Right.
I think part of the issue, or some women have the problem. For me, I've always been, if I want it, I'm gonna get it myself. Period. Like, I'm not looking to nobody else to get anything for me. However, I do want a guy who is going to match my fly, right? Yeah. His ambition has got to match mine, but you also attract who you are in a certain extent, right? So if you are, like, for instance, I used to always wonder this, and this is when I was much younger. I had friends, growing up in the hood, I had friends who only attracted drug dealers. I could never understand it.
Like that's all.
I was like, how is it that you go from one drug dealer to the next drug dealer? What, like, is there like a sign or something? Like it just happened.
Yeah, that's true.
And then those dudes would never talk to me, so I didn't know. I couldn't understand what it was. But now that I know, it's an energy, right? You kind of attract who you are, and for whatever reason, that just wasn't the wavelength that I was on. And I think women's expectations of having a man that's 6 feet whatever and making 6 figures. That ideology is just wrong. I think you should be looking for somebody who's going to love you, respect you.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm just saying.
And just love and respect you.
He don't have to have. I'm not looking at his bank account right away. Like that's not.
Well,
I mean, eventually you do because you, like you said, you have to.
You can build.
Yeah, you can build because we can build an empire together.
That's right.
If we put our minds to it, right? So you don't have to come with the 6 figures. It's not about that.
Well, I think to just piggyback, I think it's just you attract your practical ambition,
right?
Where you are.
Yeah.
I've always had that thing. It's like, no, we're gonna meet. I'm. If we're really going to work, we're gonna meet where we are.
Right.
If we're both ambitious, there's gonna, the ambition is gonna rise. There's all of those things are going to happen.
Together.
And you rise together. Now, you might not reach the plateaus together. Somebody might get there before you. Your partner might get there before you. You might get there before your partner. I think, but I think that's why, like I said, that's why I think he is him. There's another one. There was another one that I used to agree with. Like he was in the same vernacular. Tommy Sotomayor.
Right.
I did not.
She hated him.
I did not.
Why you hate him? There
he
were
was
numbers.
Worse. Like he was worse.
Well, because we would, and he had, a matter of fact, he put out a documentary called "The Fatherless America." And just talking about that. I had to laugh at what you were saying, Irv, because like me and Maya are just like in a situation where she like has so much of a masculine energy at times.
Why
that when we go,
my business out there.
Hey, I'm gonna put it out there. That when we go,
Type A.
But reality, we grew up like that. Like my mom was the independent single parent, so that's all me and my sister knows.
Right.
She's not dating right now because she will cut them off. Okay, she has a low tolerance. I thought I was bad. No, my sister will cut you off quick because it's like if you're not coming with the right energy, she's like, look, I've been doing this by myself.
Right.
I'm good. Like I'd rather you come and make my situation better and help, with the energy, positive energy. She's just like, otherwise, you no good to me. Like I ain't got no good use.
Damn.
And she real,
Yeah, and so like every time we go into a restaurant,
right,
she needs to see the door.
Yeah, I have to see the door.
Wow.
You
but
do?
That's
Wow.
She needs to see the door.
It don't matter where I am. I got to see.
Yeah.
But you know what? That actually comes from not just, the single parent, but NOPD.
Oh.
The mindset of NOPD.
Yeah.
It's just something about I need to be observant because I need to know where the X's are because I'm already clocking. If I need to run, what kind of shoes I done already mapped it out.
Yeah.
I done mapped it out.
Yeah.
Right.
I
never knew that was a thing. I never, the sitting by the door thing, I remember it used to annoy me when I was dating somebody and he'd be like, I want to sit right here. I go in a restaurant, I want to sit right here. And he'd be like, just push me over to the other side. I'm like, what's up with that, man? I like this seat right here.
It's for your benefit. I had
but most men, that's what they do. They kind of take over.
Ex-girlfriend, me, her, and some coworkers of us, we went to a bar, and I'm just looking around, and I see two guys violating. I said, okay, they're about to fight, so I grabbed them.
Yeah, you
to her friend, her white friend was like, why you grabbing me? I said, relax. My ex like, you always trying to grab me in control. I'm not being controlled. They look back. I said, I did this.
Watch it.
Next thing you know, he started fighting.
Humbug.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You said this. I'm like,
Exactly. But for me, it's like at that point, it's not so important for me to like sit and have to watch the door.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, well, look, if something happens, okay, I'll be the first one to go.
Right.
You know, and it's like I have to make that sacrifice, so to speak. You know, that sacrifice.
Now let me ask you this, Drew. Yeah. Like, so who sleeps? So, and in our house, right? It just happened organically, right? Herbert sleeps closest to the door.
Yeah.
And I sleep. And when he ever tries, like sometimes he must be like, you know what? I just want to sleep on your side. And because the mattress kind of gives it. They say to switch it around and stuff, right? So, when he come on my side, I'm like, oh, no, you're not. You need to be by the door. Yeah. Because if I hear something in the middle of the night, I'm jumping up like, go see what that is. And he gets up and he goes and see. But do you sleep by the door too?
And I do the same thing. I do the same thing. But
you sleep by the door. Maya by the door. Even though I sleep.
So Maya is just the time. Maya is my time quiet. So it's kind of like, I hear something, somebody do. And
he be like,
so you gotta jump over her then. If something happens,
jump over, that type of thing. And it's like, but it's like I understand my woman's energy.
Right.
I understand my woman's energy instead of trying to change her into that, because it's not like she ain't feminine.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like she's not, it's like I can see if she wasn't that. You know that because
it's the NOPD in her.
Right, it's NOPD. Because
that's where it came from.
Yeah, I've been in relationships. The main reason why I didn't really have a relationship in my 20s is because I dealt with women who had that big dick energy.
Yeah,
like they have to be. They have to have all of the control all the time and that type of thing. And it's like, I'm not here for this. We're not compatible.
Right.
And so like, and then that's why I don't really use the term beta male, because it's like, no, as a man, it is your job to figure out, what's going to be complex about your woman.
Right.
Yeah.
And once you figure
I do know how to fall back. You know what I mean? I know how to fall back. Sometimes but he's like, you just so aggressive. I be quick. I be like, wait, it's the Glock.
Right.
Is it ready? Is it
right.
Because I'm checking. I mean, I'm the same person that went when Trey was about, I want to say he was about 9 or 10. And it was him playing. We used to have roles. Like we would play me, him, and his dad. We would go in the house and do scenarios. Right. If this happened, you go here. Get under the bed. Like we would really go through these
drills.
Okay. We really did. But and it's so habit. And he is the same way. Everybody's like, why is Trey so quiet? He'll be off to the side, just like peeping game. Like who at the door? Who's doing this? Who's that? Because
I'm fucking with him.
And from young, even clubs.
Right.
What was that? The one on Claiborne? What is that?
Which one?
Bottom line.
Okay.
The bottom line. Couldn't go in the bottom line. Because it was one way in and one way out. It's a problem for me.
Right.
No, we can't.
No, I can't go in.
You got two different entrances.
I can't go in close with that one entrance. Because we already know somebody gonna cut up.
That's what that was on
somebody
AP2,
gonna cut up.
The duck off.
That's why I've never been to the duck off.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, bro. I need multiple legs.
Yeah, we gotta find another way.
But at the core of it, I think that's what Kevin is trying to get to.
Right.
It's like, look, okay, there was nothing wrong, women, with you trying to find a high-figure man or, high-value man or whatever you want to call it. But are you ready to play the role if you get one?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so then on the flip side of that, men, so okay, if Kevin Samuels is going to address that role, he needs to also address women that are doing it themselves, right? Women who are not only progressive, they also have to manage the house, they have to manage the children. They women are doing it all these days.
Right.
I mean, so I can understand the sentiment of some women feeling like, okay, I'm doing all of this by myself. I'm the CEO of my company. I got my kids. I'm doing this by myself. I want somebody to at least match what I bring to the table.
And there is nothing absolutely wrong with that. And he often says that there's nothing wrong with that. But I think where it is that the more women do, the less men feel like they have.
Right. It's like what can I contribute to? It's like, dang, like you do everything. What can I do for you?
Right. Yeah. What can I do for you? And
think about you don't have time.
Women.
And then to be honest, you don't have time to go in the bedroom.
It's kind of a double standard though, because he says that, but like there's a lot of women right now who get married to the man who's not doing anything.
Right. Well,
I mean doing nothing.
But you
and
know
they get the man. But then us, we come, we work, we make the money, we do have the house, take care of the house, all of those things. Now we too strong. What I mean?
What I was going to say is that I think it's the opposite.
Do you?
These women are so strong that the only man that can be in their lives is the quote unquote beta male, because he is not going to challenge her on a regular basis on that type of thing.
He's gonna play her
unless she winds up pairing up with a true alpha male who says, I don't care what you say, I don't care how strong you are, this don't matter. You ain't gonna do this. This is my job. And if you don't like it, we don't need to be together.
You hit him with that ultimatum?
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because a beta male is not going to give you an ultimatum. A beta male is not going to challenge you.
They're not going to challenge
you. He's going to go with the flow, whatever makes you happy.
And that's true. And then most women who are like Maya and I, type A personalities, you know, we don't want a push. Nobody wants a pushover, right? Especially type A females.
Right. Yeah.
We like to have control to, or feel like there's a certain level of control. It's not control. It's respect.
It's respect. Yeah.
It's respect, really. And then, so you know, my husband is a really he's a man's man, right? He's just like. You know, we'll have little petty arguments every now and then about little stupid stuff, right?
Right.
And I said something like, "Well, you know, the alpha woman will come out and say, well, I ain't asking you for nothing. You say, you don't have to. He would say, you don't have to ask me for anything. So, you know, it's just, yeah, it is give and take. Nobody wants a guy, a yes man.
Right.
You know,
well, and that's the thing, though, is that I think that with the confidence and with the accomplishment that a lot of these women have or acquire, it comes as a result of them being a little older. It comes at a time of desperation. They can get into a little desperation. So the man who just lays it down on them pretty good is going to be good enough for them because he putting it down.
He scratched that itch.
You know,
and you do have some women like
that.
No.
I think that'll last for a while. I don't think that's.
It don't last all.
I don't think
time.
that's something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
Right.
But it will happen because some of them do start feeling like, okay,
I get it.
My back against the wall. My biological clock is ticking.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think part of it comes from desperation. You know, and it's not necessarily they're settling.
Yeah.
Because
some of them do.
Because they have an understanding of their place in the sexual marketplace. You know, so it's not like, okay, well, I can have this dude. He looks like a good pedigree.
Right.
Yeah, he ain't got no job, but you know, he look like my baby's gonna be pretty.
But let's talk about the ones that the women who do that, right? Because I know someone that she was married and things like that. He was quiet, real mild mannered. Now he took care of business, you know, provided, but she kind of dressed him and started that inner person. She brought it out,
well, Grandma told
right? Mama said, "Don't buy him those damn shoes. You buy him shoes, that nigga walking right out." Okay, that's what she would tell me. Don't buy him those. Don't do it. Don't dress him up. But I mean, you have women who will, you know, pull it out. They dress their man from head to toe. Now me, of course, that's just habit. My son, I like certain things, you know. And so I'm like, hey, I'm going. I'm on this.
In the first couple of years of our relationship, I fought that shit like hell. I was like, you can't come to the store with me. You can't. No, I'm not. No, I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get.
I would pick it out.
So in other words, once she found out your sizes, she was over with.
That was it.
That was
so just clothes just started coming up.
But it's funny because when I would do that, he would do a show, and people would be like, Might pick that up.
Justin.
Yeah.
Might want that. You know,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's
I'm a
nothing that was
simpleton, so
there.
right.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
real basic with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But I say that to say, the female that I know who did that to her husband, he ended up cheating.
Yeah.
Because she said
she gave
the
him a
worst
swag.
thing,
She
the
gave him a
worst
swag.
thing ever was he took a look in that mirror. After I did that, he took a look in the mirror like, damn, I look good.
That
I
reminds
look
me of
good. I
that
really
movie is
do.
where, Vivica Fox and Bobby Brown was in it. A girl dressed Bobby Brown. He was Jerry
That's
Garcia.
exactly what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
vaguely,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it two?
Yeah, two to play that game.
I think
yeah.
it's two
Two
can play that
yeah,
That
game.
boy looking at something like, I look good.
And that's exactly what it was. You know, she did that and he eventually cheated. They got a divorce and, you know, so on. But it's all in who you with, too.
Let me ask y'all this. This is something I thought about. And I brought this up to Drew a while back when we talked about this. Well, we mentioned that the government came in with welfare and really like took it to where, okay, I'm gonna choose the check over a man. It kind of makes you wonder. I feel like that whole thing created the whole term for us men, money over bitches.
Yeah.
Because think about it, it's like, okay, you chose the welfare over us, so now women say, I hear a man who say MOB, but now it's like, I get where that energy comes from.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, it's all
That's a good point.
a plan that it was all a plan that just backfired.
Yeah.
Because the thing was, the government in a belief, they believed that women were going to pick their families. The man. They were going to pick the man to keep the family unit over the small check of, you know, a mere percentage of what their man was already bringing in.
But that shows you the personality of the women back then. It shows you the character and the personality.
Well, I always say, you know, like, you're only as you know your choices are only as good as the environment that you're in.
Right.
You know, and that's one of the things that's why I talk. You know, that's why when we talk about real estate and all that stuff, I talk about the East so much, or Punch Train Park, where I'm from, and I'm like, look, this is the bastion of black living.
Right.
You know, we're not worried about how much the house on St. Charles costs.
Right.
We have a house. We're amongst like-minded people. Our neighborhood is, pretty much crime-free.
Right.
You know, we have all of the amenities that they have.
Right.
I don't care if theirs is 10 times worth more. You know, somewhere along the line, and I blame the civil rights movement. You know, well, I put the responsibility on the civil rights movement because of my trip to South Africa.
Right.
And you know, the mindset was a little different. Seeing here in America, we were fighting. Our people were fighting for equality. Right. They wanted a seat at the table. In South Africa, they put in apartheid because the Africans were like, "Look your table.
Right.
We
enjoy eating on the floor more than sitting at your table.
We're gonna just create our own.
So so we create our own tables, and so they created their own shanty towns, all those type of things. Like, it's poor under every standard,
but they're happy.
But they were happy. They lived longer. There was a community, all of those things. And so once we got out of the civil rights movement, and the civil rights bills passed and all that type of stuff, the mindset changed. The mindset of the people, period, started to change. And the government thought that they had the mindset of the people in South Africa.
Right.
Black folk, the people of South Africa. And so now you were in a position where it's kind of like, okay, well, if we offered it them, so at least we could say we offered it.
Right.
But they didn't realize that the psychological things had already happened.
Right.
They already, black folks were already in the mind frame of the white man's water tastes colder.
Right.
It's colder. Or the white man's house is better. And
equality.
Yeah, equality, And so they thought equality came from being able to sit at the white man's table. So yes, of course, if you're in that environment, if you're in that frame of mind, you're going to accept that check.
Right.
Because the government and the white man is telling you, you don't need a man.
You know what? That reminds me of the theory I said earlier. I feel like Sex and the City is an awesome show, but it fucked
Amazing show.
Yeah. I love that show. But the thing is, that whole process of that lifestyle fucked up a lot of women because they feel as though I could be in my 40s having a Sex and the City lifestyle, but it's like realistically, hey,
no, but a lot of people miss it and just being a super fan, right?
Everybody can't do it.
It wasn't always like that. If you look at everything from season 1, 2 through 6, they struggled a lot in relationships, they and it highlighted
really did.
the obstacles that women have to face while in the dating pool, right? There were every scenario you could think of was portrayed on Sex in the City. Carrie was the one that got big. Everybody had a Samantha friend, right? Everybody had a Charlotte friend. We all had roles, right? Everybody had roles.
The Miranda.
But and I remember like everybody had that in their group, and it just kind of showcased what happened. Carrie was the exception,
right?
Right. I could go on and on about Sex in the City. Don't get me started on that.
What I'm trying to say is that a lot of women saw that lifestyle was like, I can have that, but it's like, no, you like you said, Drew, know your surroundings, know your environment,
your practical aspirations. That's why I call it practical, because it's like, look, yes, I want, it's like, when I was young, I aspired to have the house in Eastover, right. Mm-hmm. But then I looked around and I was like, okay, but is that going to make me happy? Right. Mm-hmm. I had to ask that question every time when I was on a come up of, it's like, okay, I'm right here in that threshold to make the type of money to get it. It's right here. Right. But I know I got to have all of that stuff done. Right. So when I cross that threshold, I can just get it. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, okay, is it going to make me happy to, have to work 60 hours a week?
Good mortgage, bad mortgage.
Good mortgage, bad mortgage. And so, and I had to, and I can say I had to, but I had to make that decision to say, okay, is where I am so bad that I got to leave? Right. Yeah. Is where I'm trying to go, is it where I want to go so good that I'm going to kill myself for it,
But what? So kill yourself.
Yeah.
Like, so that's a strong word.
Well,
so
it is and I understand that. And what I mean by killing yourself is that
good and bad mortgage.
Yeah, the good and bad mortgage.
Because some people who have the bad mortgage, they'll get and live above their means, right?
Yeah. Like me and Maya, when me and Maya first started dating, we had those discussions about like where's the balance or what have you. I was like, well, look, I would rather, I said, if I just really had my preference, I said, but I know it's not about me necessarily, but if I had my preference is we'll live in this house and then pay the mortgage off right quick, because I'm only paying, $250 on principal, and that, and all that extra money that I can have, we can invest, we can do all those things, and then we can, which can lead to the big mortgage, or just if we want to go on vacation every other month, we can go on vacation every other month. Yeah. So it's just kind of like figuring out where your life balance is, and if the tangible things that that you aspire to acquire, is it practical for your life balance? That's all. That's all it really is. I know I can talk in terms of just be like, just bold. Yeah. Bold terms.
There is a so Herb and I, we always have this conversation. Being a progressive, always wanting stuff, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a serial entrepreneur. If it's gonna make money, I'll probably take a stab at it, right? Mm-hmm. And so, there's another venture that we went into, and at first I was like, I don't know. I'm kind of good like where I am, but I kind of do want to do something else just to have those multiple streams of income. But I remember one day coming home saying, look, I ain't about to be a slave to no job. Yeah. And I was very, very clear. And I said, I am progressive. I like this idea, but somebody else gonna have to work it. I'm not about to. I'm at my max right now. You know what I mean? I have a lot on my plate. So if I do this thing, my intention is to have someone else do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Do that role, because I refuse to be. Success is subjective.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
To
It
me,
is.
success to me was when I was able to work for myself, do what I want, when I want, answer to nobody, and just do my own
your
thing.
own thing, yeah.
That's success to me. It was never necessarily tied to a dollar amount.
Yeah.
It was just me taking care of what I need to take care of, me being able to travel, be able to shop, whatever it is I want to do. Me being able to do that for me is success.
Yeah.
Now, men, y'all a little different.
Yeah.
Yes,
'cause
yes,
they
You
yes.
know,
don't
put money, a dollar sign on it.
own it.
Well,
And I need to have X amount in my account at any given time.
That's
because
that's called security.
that's the protector, provider,
right.
mentality for us men, because we don't have any other role.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I get that. I can respect that. I respect that.
Yeah. And when you deal with
I respect
women, y'all have the babies, y'all take care of the babies.
And that's a lot.
Y'all work out. Right.
Let me just say that.
Y'all work, and y'all trying, and you're, you have all your aspirational goals, and you have,
Personal,
there's personal goals, and you have this, that, and the other. For us, it's like, no, it's like going to a Mardi Gras ball. A man see another man with the same cummerbund and tie, be like, hey,
Us, we have a meltdown. Oh my gosh, she got the dress on.
this bitch got the same dress that I got on.
And then y'all mugging each other the whole day.
Who wore it better? Who wore it better?
You mean to tell me Miss Shirley made 2 dresses like the same way? But that's why I say we get it, but we're just, as men, we're a lot simpler in those goals. Yeah. And I think that's why, once again, going back, that's why I think Kevin's, advice and everything hit so hard.
Right.
Because he's like, nah, man, like a high value man, especially in that context,
right,
only wants a feminine, beautiful woman, naturally beautiful woman,
right,
with no kids and is real young, that type of thing. Whether he's 45, 50 years old, it doesn't matter.
Well, I have to say that is not necessarily the case.
No.
Okay, I have to say this again. Okay, Mr. Kevin Samuels, okay, the Honorable Kevin Samuels, or Onk, as you would call him,
right,
Parran, whatever his name is, right? That's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I was married, had a child, we divorced. I was a single parent for some time. And, I wasn't, again, I guess the difference is I wasn't chasing like a 6-figure guy or a high net worth guy. But I do remember when Herbert and I met, it was so funny. He said, he was on Facebook and he was going through my pictures and stuff. And he said he saw the one kid. He was like, oh, I could probably do one. Yeah, I could probably do one. And he said, then I saw a bunch of pictures with you, and it had this other little kid. And I used to always have either Trey or my other little friends, or my friend's kid. And he said, then I saw you on a picture, consistently with Trey and this other kid. Then I saw the other kid. I was like, damn, she got 3 children. And he said, he was like, I can't do 3. I can't do 3.
I can do 1.
And then he was like, first he was like, I can't do 2. Right. I can't do 2. And then finally he's like, I definitely can't do 3. He said, then I did a little more digging and I found out you only had 1. And I was cool with that. And
I want you to like kind of understand that, first of all, you are an anomaly. You are kind of the exception to the rule, because the percentage
one
of
kid
men,
is an exception.
The percentage of men who are considered listen, the percentage of men who are considered high value, in that context, like I said, 6-figure earners, have the attributes, have all the attributes, the more than likely they're going, no matter what age they are, whatever age range they are, you are literally in a 10%, 15% tile range.
But when I was in when I was in the dating, when I was in my single phase, my single mind, I was there. Yeah. Okay. It wasn't just, They knew guys knew I had a child.
Right.
And so that was never something that was like, to me, I didn't feel like it was like a taboo. It was like, nobody ever, like everybody, Trey was the happiest kid on the planet because Trey would be getting gifts from everywhere. Now, he didn't meet these guys, obviously, but they knew I had a kid. They would send stuff for him. Get that to your son. It was.
Yeah. No, I also have to put this out there. On a scale of 1 to 10, a natural beauty, without sounding like I'm trying to hit on you or something like that.
Oh, I know your family.
You have the 6, 7, 8 beauty. You're not the 5s, the 4s that you're not the 5 that he talks about, that Kev talks about. But then again,
the adjustable 6.
Yeah. The adjustable 6.
Unbelievable.
Only because he doesn't use 7.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like on scale from 1 to 10 without using 7. What are you?
Wait, why is he not using?
Because 7 is just 7 is stereotypical number, like the average number. Like that's where women, can viably see themselves and think that they're being honest, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah. And we're talking about a scale of attractiveness. We're talking about a scale of, femininity, like the feminine, the beautiful, the sex appeal, just the innate, not only just of your physical, but also mentally, because we, like how many women that have very good husbands and have got a man because they're just really good at heart, but as opposed to women who just who have the all around, as opposed just to having one or the other. It's like it's very few and far between.
That you got to have something. They have to be attracted to your exterior before they get to know.
Exactly.
Before they can get to the other side. I get that. He's right about that. That's true.
Because I don't want to be I don't want to be this chauvinist, but I'm just gonna go there. How many chicks that we can all kind of agree that she can be considered a 4, a 3.
I don't really know how to that scale thing is just
I do because
put them on those levels.
To put anybody on a scale, it's just
it's a little more complex.
How you feel too about yourself.
Y'all looking at it? No, yeah, it is, but it's about like for us because it's our scale.
Right.
Oh, okay, that's y'all scale. Y'all keep your scale over there.
Right, it's our scale.
Yeah,
because take Kev's most famous video, like the video that put him on there. And he told a girl that you're average at best. Like looking at the chick without makeup on.
Right.
Because once again we talk about natural beauty. Because we get into women who just
do the extra
makeup.
Well, my husband loves to go in on what's the Kardashian sister? She's super pretty. Kylie.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
totally different.
Yeah.
I get it. He's like that is not the same girl.
Right.
Yeah. When no makeup
was
on.
Naturally beautiful.
And so most of us.
She was.
Yeah, most men.
Is the key word.
Yeah, most men who are really looking for a woman to procreate with, a woman to like live a long life with, she has to just be naturally pretty.
Right.
And it's not superficial as it is like I'm thinking about the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I want to be in the future 40 years from now and be with an ugly woman? No. No. By no means.
Let's be real.
We go back to the very first episode we were saying, right?
Yeah.
The very first episode when I said, if you look completely different when you put makeup on,
right?
Yeah,
something is really wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because makeup is supposed to enhance.
Right.
It's not supposed to change you into a totally different person.
And to me, that's why we have 4s and 3s.
Right.
But 4 and a 3, that's like really low, man.
Yeah, there's some really ugly things. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I said, it's not necessarily
like,
physical
how about you
appearance.
just not even grade
is.
them? Like, just don't even give them a
no,
grade.
because you gotta grade. Well, here's the thing: grading is nothing more than an evaluation of what you think that person is.
No, but here's the thing. You are different from, Earth. So the type of woman Earth might like
It's gonna
physically
be
is going to
subjective.
be completely different. So,
But
because
I
Earth
could
might
be-
like a BBW. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I mean,
I'm
that-
just saying.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
I mean,
and you might like pencil thin. It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
right.
Beauty's in the eyes of the
the
beholder.
beholder. Yeah.
Now you got a point, because I see some women that be like, I wouldn't
I
mess with
wouldn't-
that.
yeah,
and
but
she
then-
pulling niggas.
She pulling the whole, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Salute, baby, salute.
but that's what I'm saying. But it's simple. All it's simple is that what is a man's vision of what that is. A man's vision of average, because like some men just don't believe they can even pull what's considered the 9s and 10s.
All about the right broom.
So it's like, okay, I know that I can't pull a 9 or 10. In other words, you're a high value woman. I can't pull a high value woman.
Well, let's talk
So,
about
okay.
Kevin Samuels for a second.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
I'm about to say, let's get into
Right,
him.
what would we give Kevin Samuels?
You know what? I have to give him.
Maya, you would give him an 8, a 9.
I would give
Just on the way he dresses.
Just the way he dressed. Just the way he dressed. He's the Teflon Don.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's very, I love a well-groomed man. Smell good and all of those things. He gotta smell good.
Probably smells good.
So I'll give him, because see, we got more than one with the scales. Okay, we don't just have one.
And that's what makes yours complex. That's what makes ours
he's
simple.
good. We know he take care of himself. He's
Right.
well groomed. All those things. I would give him probably a 9.
Okay.
But far as personality, I probably give him a 6. Only because
It's a
Generous.
it's it's like he been married twice. That says a lot. Let's be clear. If we could all interview our current man or current girlfriends, their exes,
Right.
will we really be with them?
Good question.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good question.
That's a good
good question.
Would that would they say some good things or 90% bad?
You gotta ask this: if they say some bad things, is it based off of emotion or based off of facts?
Exactly.
Because I have an ex-girlfriend who will tell you some stuff about me that's based off of emotions,
Yeah.
but not facts.
Yeah, she keep my car.
She left a note on my window.
Right.
I still had the note.
Did you say she was
She went on my
psychotic?
job.
She threatened to come to my job because we going through problems. She threatened
But
to
you
make a
know
scene.
what?
Yeah.
We're older now, but trust me, we done been there. Well, we humming, hairbrushes out the... Because he done pissed us off. I mean, we all done went through those little... I'm a stalk and be in the trees.
My cousins, they
Like
20s.
Jill's got to say way down, way low.
My
Put my
cousins-
flats on.
I said, my cousins in their 20s, they used to go drive around these dudes' houses with, my cousin had a pin. She put on the windshield, press it, the windshield bust. I said, look, somebody gonna kill one of y'all.
yeah, I gotta be
You
careful.
gotta chill out with that shit.
Yeah. I mean, but now, you wouldn't catch me dead doing that because he always laugh when I say, hell, they talking about you doing something. Who? You'll be looking for me. Because I have some females that's like, oh, girl, you don't call him. You don't be wondering what he doing. No, because I'm doing me.
Right, you securing
Trying
who
to
you are.
do me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how
And
I wouldn't
which
be-
is very attractive to a
Yeah.
man.
Like my ex, she was like, "What?" One time I was in the studio to sleep. I wake up to like 10 text messages, her cursing me out. What bitch you with? I'm like, "Nigga, I'm in the studio. I looked at Drew. I said, Drew, what I been doing? You been asleep? He like, man.
But I mean, we as women,
yeah.
we've all had those in our 20s, our teens.
When,
You know,
when
we
you
had
need
that.
it, but when you don't
Yeah,
have
when you don't
nothing
have-
going on, really.
Yeah.
Right. If you
But
don't have to go no,
other than that
no
relationship.
interest,
But
like,
but like I said,
right.
but that's what it's those little things, that we put on the scale,
Right. Yeah.
And I remember the joke about that Dave Chappelle used. It's like y'all reading books, and every time y'all read a book, every time you turn a page, you feel fatter and you feel less important and all that other stuff. And you reading these articles, 100 Ways to Please Your Man by some woman.
Right.
And he's like, look, fucking make a sandwich. Don't talk so much. Like it's just
like I want your interest. Some of you got hobbies. Some of you have a fucking brain.
just like do something else. Show me that you can leave me alone and not worry about.
Show me that you can do some critical thinking and ask me for help.
It's like little things like that, and that's the things that on top of your physical traits,
right?
That that scale you.
But you're not gonna know that just looking at somebody from the first time. Yeah. So, but what the honorable Kevin Samuels does, right?
My mom was having
some type of way.
So what he does is he's judging these women right out the gate based on how much money they make, what their body shape, size, what their measurements are. Not asking, whether or not they have children. Like he told somebody on an episode we were watching today, he was saying, you have a kid? Oh no, that's a lot. That's too much. A high net worth individual is not going to want that. And
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, it's all about context for me. I think he asked them those questions because it's like, I'm gonna hold this mirror.
Right.
Okay, let's do the evaluation. What do you want? Okay. Do you see yourself? Is this a person that can really handle? Because these are some of the things that this type of person wants. And this is what a man wants in a woman.
How does he know? How does he know? Because to me,
I think he said that as a high value man,
as an image consultant,
right?
Is
he successful in that?
Well, yeah. I mean, the interesting thing was,
I just heard about him within the last year. So apparently he can't be like he's not world renowned.
Yeah.
I mean, his negative.
Most image consultants aren't as world renowned.
Well, I guess you're right. I'm just giving him a hard time.
I know.
I just want to give him a hard time.
That's why I say I love it.
Yeah.
Because I think that he doesn't necessarily privy himself to not taking any scrutiny or not taking any.
And I think that's how he got the ratings
criticism
too, by really being harsh with
because the one thing that
sassy.
Yeah.
Society loves that. It's unfortunate, but society do love the negativity.
Yeah, and the one thing that
I hate that.
One thing that a lot of men.
I mean, it's the truth.
One of the things
that's for sure.
Yeah,
well, that's what makes it. That's what makes it so potent. And the one thing that people, in general, we kind of stray away from, or it's kind of a taboo subject, is holding women accountable for what they want.
Right.
And also what they believe they deserve.
Realtors, do you need some special aerial photography or video footage? Or maybe you need some stock footage of the city for your presentation? Or maybe a beautiful shot of a landmark just to hang on your wall? Well, time for you to check out DM NOLA Shots. They are a drone photography and videography company established in New Orleans who specialize in capturing aerial 4K video and photo. Check out the website at www.dmnolashotsllc.com or follow us on social media at DM NOLA Shots on Instagram and Facebook. DM NOLA Shots.
Mm-hmm. Okay, with that's a good point. Wait, let me just say this. Okay, because I'm just thinking about this. All right, yeah, we are in the.
Wait a minute.
Hold up. We are in the era where everything on social media looks good. Everybody's got the perfect bodies. Guys got it. Okay, women want 6-figure men. Okay, because that's whatever. That's what they want, right? Per Kevin Samuels. All these women that are calling in. Then we have the guys that are just coming into money who believe that they should have
the high value woman,
the most beautiful woman or whatever. And I think it's strictly based on their physical attributes, right?
Yeah.
They feel like they can have any. You know what? You know who I'm thinking about right now? Have y'all watched, what is it? Couples Retreat.
Oh yeah.
What is the comedian?
Black.
Michael Blackston. Oh my God.
He's something else.
And why?
Right.
Okay, so because he is a high, and he even said this because it's funny when I see the little clips and stuff. It's funny, and he's like, I'm a cheater. He wore a cheater shirt or something. He's a cheater, and he's like, well, because when I was, younger, I couldn't have these women, these beautiful women. Well, now that I can, I'm just making up for it.
Right.
And so what makes him qualify for that is to kind of the same.
And I think that's why a lot of people miss about what Kevin is saying, because Kevin spent the last 3 years before he started dealing with women, having women come.
I'm joking.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Cut that, please. Cut that.
In actuality, yes, that's he was dealing with men, and he was telling men about, like, men were always on his show, and he would tell men, no, nigga, get your shit together first and foremost. And he would have the videos, which shoes, like some of the best shoes, the best things, like all those things. And he put that in perspective and saying, like, ain't no woman gonna want you unless you start to, put yourself in this category and do these necessary things to do that. Get your money up. It's like, and I've seen him go in. I mean, I watched clips of him going harder on the men.
He go hard on the men.
More than the women.
These two, they just like
they fans, honey. They fans.
Well, it's like I've been accused of being kind of like one of those men's advocate type of people. But I'm not. But I'm necessarily not, because all I'm saying is, like, okay, here's a simple order. Does it make sense? And that's the only thing I ask. Does it make sense? Does it make sense?
But yeah, I agree with a lot of what he says, but I mean, it's just that delivery sometimes.
I like him because
I be like, do you really have to?
I hear other men going through it, so it's like, okay, if I'm holding myself accountable, he's telling you I'm holding you accountable, but I'm giving you the direction on how to take the steps to see the results of your accountability.
Right.
And that's all I get from it. It's like, okay, like
he's basically what some men are saying in their head.
Right,
they're thinking it, but they don't have the guts to really say it to the women.
Right.
No, he had the
guts.
He had the stuff we go through our head that we want to tell ourselves, but we don't have the guts to say,
really
okay, this is how you fix it. This is the direction you take.
That's what we need to do.
Bottom line, some men are superficial.
Yeah.
Some women are superficial, and some are not. Bottom line, you can have a really good relationship. And she could be a BBW, and the guy could be 5 foot nothing, and they're perfectly happy. And he may not even have those thoughts. I get that he's really tackling the women who have this such high standard of men that they feel that they deserve.
Right.
We live in a world, especially with these millennials, oh my God. Of entitlement. They feel entitled to every good thing.
Right.
So I get that from the perspective of, look, you get your stuff together first before you go checking for this. But you attract who you are. That's the bottom line.
Exactly.
It's a theory I have that
practically are.
Yeah. It's something
practically.
I use that. Yeah.
It's a theory that I have that I told myself this yesterday. I said, I live my life as if I'm living in a glass house. And that's how I approach people. I approach men, women, family, and friends. Like, you know what? I treat you with some type of respect and way, because, like, I don't want nobody. I feel like I have my flaws. I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and judge you, say, I don't like this, I don't like that. And the whole time it's like, you're not right. That's like a boomerang. Walkers worry about the women's feet, but it's like, then you can't even have a wholesome relationship. It's like,
because your feet.
Right.
Yeah. I always make the parallel of, okay, how do you say you want a Lamborghini? You don't even make enough money, to to get that, to not only to buy but to maintain a Lamborghini. You're only making $40,000 a year. How are you going to maintain a Lamborghini?
Right.
And your house and your and
your lifestyle.
And your lifestyle. And I think that's where that kind of comes from. So let's move on, and so we can kind of finish this out. Because like I said, we can talk about this for hours on end. all the subjects that I talk about, we can talk about for hours on end. But I want to do this because Maya and I always have these conversations because she'll see what I'm watching and that type of thing.
I know we have.
And then she weighs in on it, and
she said we be arguing.
This is why we be arguing. Kev was making a distinction about women, being to blame, that's per se, for the the men
and the
not being in the home therefore not being in their children's lives, therefore, raising the thugs, killers, and drug dealers.
Blaming the mothers.
And blaming the mothers, And
we get blamed for everything.
Not everything.
Majority of it, though, we take the
of course,
the brunt of the.
Of course, but it brought a different question that raised, and I raised it in the last episode, and we were able to talk about it. At what point, at what age, or at what moments does the responsibility stop lying with the parents and lie with the children who are actually doing the deeds or in that fashion, whether success or failure.
Right. I brought that up because of the violence that's going on, and so many kids that's breaking into cars and running around and doing all of this crime, right? The first thing that people attack is the parents or their mom or their dad. But a lot of times you could how many of us know the preacher's kid? Right. Who still grew up to be a world of trouble. Right. You know what I'm saying? So you can grow up in the perfect family household and all of these things and still make the choice to do wrong. Right. And so it's like, when do you stop blaming the parents? And that child, I feel like it's that transition of teens when they become 13, 14, because you know right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? Even if your mom wasn't there, your dad wasn't there, you know right from wrong. You know when it's wrong. Because half of the time, the criminals, they hide before they do it, right? That means you don't want to even be consciously aware or feel guilty about what you're about to do, which means what? You know it's wrong.
I think what we're seeing now too is like a bunch of all of the kids that are committing these crimes and stuff. You think about like where they were Hurricane Katrina, right? These are all those babies, right? Yeah. All those babies that grew up with that trauma. It's kind of the same scenario as they say the slave trauma that some of us have from our ancestors and stuff like that. And then if you take it a step even deeper, when they are being raised in an environment where they have no example. And what I've seen with like working with kids in group homes and things like that and hearing the stories from those children is that there was no example. The grandmother was
had to figure it out.
They were didn't graduate high school. They were they grew up in the projects. Their mom grew up in the projects. Their mom grew up in the projects, and then dad went to jail. Mom went to jail. Grandma went to jail. Everybody went to jail. And then these kids are left to fend for themselves. And then they go into the system. And the system there where they are mistreated, they are molested most of the time.
A lot of them have that story.
And so they have a lot that they're dealing with. And I just think that the whole project, which was a project, is just coming full circle because these children that they don't have any guidance, any leadership. And by the time they're like 13 and they done been in the system from infancy to about 13,
that likeliness of them,
them being the ones out there robbing us and taking lives. Those kids have seen a lot.
That I'm mainly focused on the ones who are growing
up, who have the
moms. You know what I'm saying? Because we automatically get, it's almost like the good suffering for the bad. You know what I'm saying? Because they have one now, we know he's locked up right now, had both parents. Good kid. So you're thinking,
I'm still heartbroken from that.
A good upbringing. I mean, like just brought up in a way, that you have all of the moral, the moral standings, the moral lessons, and you still just get caught up. And like I said, at the same time, I am a person of you've taught your kid pretty much everything that they need to know to survive in this world. And so, like I said, so the question I always beg the question is like, at what point do we say that, look, I raised you right.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Or, it's like, you didn't even have to do this. This is stupid. Or, that sort of thing. So at what point does it say it's like, okay, it falls out of parents' hands and it's now your choice. That was your choice.
I don't think as a mother, I don't think we ever would feel like our children are out of our hands because no matter what they do, we are going to feel responsible or feel like there's something, what could I have done more so that does not have happened to my child or whatever the case is. But I think that just really having those conversations with your kid, like it was funny, right? My son's away. He's in Los Angeles living on his own and stuff. And one day he called me laughing and he's like, Mom, remember you told me, because every time I talk to him, I'm like, you're not doing no drugs or nothing. You're not doing,
you ain't getting into nothing.
You're not doing anything. You ain't, I just go there with him. I go there with him. And he started laughing. He's like, no, Mom. Remember you showed me those pictures of a girl that had I don't even remember this, some disease, a STD. And he's like, remember those pictures? He said, Mom, that haunts me to this day. And I said, do you smoke anything? Do you smoke anything? And he's like, well, no, Mom. You told me that if I smoke one cigarette, I'm going to have cancer. So they remember stuff. But I'm sure I was a bit overboard and very, very dramatic.
Like my stories.
I
told Trey, I was like, let's talk about this long Q-tip that they...
Let's
talk about that long or that penicillin shot.
Yeah, but I think as a mom, we never.
Yeah,
we'll never feel that way. Now, the ones that are the guilty parents, they don't want to be blamed if they didn't raise their child. If their child was raised by a grandmother or somebody, then it's hard for them to accept it. But as a non-guilty parent. I will always feel that there is some type of ownership on my part, not for every action. I mean, I guess beyond 18, I might be like, okay, well, if he goes out and does something, but as long as he's under my roof, and in my care, I feel like that is my responsibility.
I know me, I don't have kids, but as a kid growing up, my mama asked me, she said, why you never gave us no problem with running out of jail? I said, number one, I watch Scared Straight on MTV. I don't want no man calling me Bridget. I said, I don't want to be. I ain't trying to go to jail and get raped. She was like, "You serious?" I'm like, "No, I'm dead ass." And plus, it's like, as a growing up, I seen how certain family members was doing certain things and the path they was going down. I was like, "Nah, I can't do it."
You don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want that.
I don't want to embarrass my family name. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to be going places and like y'all know a lot of people and they see me and they're like, "Okay, that's so and so saying doing this." And it's like it's more of a thing where it's like, what do I want to see myself? Like, I know I did a lot of dumb stuff, drugs. A lot of crazy things I did think I down with the jail for. But I know for a fact, if I could do it all over again, I'll be able to do things differently.
Yeah.
And I know, because I have a lot of friends who grew up in great households. Their parents was hands-on with them, but they still became convicted felons in and out of jail, doing dumb stuff. I'm like, I know people who, like, grew up, like, living the privileged lifestyle. And they just was infatuated with that culture. Because another thing,
and I think that's what I'm going to cut you off. But I think that's where the kind of thing comes into tune for me. I remember one of my best friends. He's talking about his son, one of his sons, and and he kind of got on himself,
right?
Because he's like, my son is being lazy, like he just like this, that, and the other. He's like, man, I just spoiled him too much. I just spoiled him.
Yeah, we always do that.
You take it personal.
I said, I don't think that was the case. What I think was that you were trying to give him everything that you possibly could for him to have a better life than you.
Right. Exactly.
And that's all we be trying to do.
And the only thing your son missed was the lesson.
Right.
They miss that message sometimes.
We learned the lessons. We learned the necessary lessons because we didn't have a choice.
Yep.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so now you think that just by not giving them, not having them to have to make that choice,
right,
is good. I was like, no, but what it did for us, it instilled a certain perspective,
right,
for us, so that we won't end up in that situation.
Right.
Or we already know what the consequences are.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
and I think part of, and like I said, but, you know, our parents put that on us soon as, you know, as soon as we crossed that threshold, as soon as we got that diploma,
Right.
you're on your own.
There you go.
I'm not responsible for nothing else that goes on in your life at this point. So I you know, that's why I say I think the line at this point, you know, the line is quite blurred.
Right.
As to, you know, where should it stop being the responsibility or the, you know, for, especially when it comes to the failures.
My thing is this: once you become a self-contained individual as a teenager, well, my thing is like, if you know how to take care of yourself, wash clothes, clean the kitchen, do simple chores around the house, and you have the common sense to know that when you cross the street, look both ways. This basic common sense, you should know that doing this will get you in trouble.
Right.
So you, as think about it, if you in school and you study and you fail a test, you have to take accountability. It's not your parents' fault. So it's a certain level as an age you have as a child, you have to take accountability. Like my little cousin like to play video games. You know that you can't leave your video game on while you're not playing because some type of way it'll damage the actual the device.
Damage the console.
Damage the console. So with that being said, you know for a fact, if you're playing with a wireless controller, you have to keep it charged up. If it goes dead on you, you're screwed. Now you're gonna be able to play.
Right.
So with that being said, you have at some point kids they know comments. They know how the word I'm looking for. They know how to attain the knowledge to maintain stuff. You should know how it is. You should know right from wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
and most of them
the
do.
key
though.
is balance, like having common sense and being street smart to a certain extent. And a lot of kids are lacking in one or the other or in both.
Because some of these kids today, man, I'm like, what is
just
your,
common
what is going
sense.
on?
Common sense and common courtesy.
They don't know a level of respect for themselves, let alone other people, because some of them don't respect elders.
Well, I think but that's,
they don't care.
I think that really comes from the fact that, you know, when we were young, you know, our parents was like, where you want to go? You want to go to skate country? All right. How you get to skate country?
Catch the bus.
You know,
We had to catch that bus.
You know,
We knew how to catch the bus.
you catch this bus,
We
this
going
bus, and this
somewhere.
bus.
And if you miss it, we hustle rides.
Right, you hustle rides, and you knew that you had to, you know, put some snaps on the petrol,
Right.
and, you know, to get where you need to go.
$3
Growing up,
each, $5.
every time I was kids, my grandma had all the routes, the times, everything. I heard you catching the bus now. Here you go.
You know, so I think
that.
it's that part of the thing. It's like, and so now, you know, we have the access to say, okay, well, just get an Uber. You know, I pay for it. Or you know something of that nature.
Man, we had Uber when I was coming out.
I be Ubering
I probably would have
everywhere.
been everywhere.
So
These kids just get Uber Eats.
yeah, so I think, you know, and I think that's what it really comes down to, and especially when it comes to accountability of parents and the children being accountable for themselves. It's just, you know, I think that it's just at some point we just know that that child is going to have to be accountability for his or herself.
Right.
You know, but I think it's just based on your maturity level. I think it's that, you know, once, as you were saying, once those things, you learn those things, crossing the street, you know, doing your thing, and you start to do them on your own.
Bro, you know how to wipe your ass, bro. You shouldn't be doing no dumb shit.
You know, but you know for a fact that if you go hang with these people over here, they're going to get you in trouble because I told you they're going to get you in trouble.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Now,
That's
yeah,
what
but
our
that's
parents were adamant about that.
Right.
Like,
But growing up, you always had that one cousin would sit up there and test you, get you to do some dumb shit, and make you have a choice whether you're gonna be a follower or a leader. And when you pass it, cuz be like, you did the right thing. That's what you're supposed to do with people on the street.
I got your back.
Right.
You know. Yeah. So it's you know, I realize it is a subjective answer. You know, I mean subjective question.
Right.
But you know, I think especially the Black community, because we have such a disparaging number of, I think there's just such an imbalance, you know, with parents, children, communities, and whatnot.
And I mean, the reality, kids don't come with a manual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't
Parenting-
know what your
parenting
parenting don't come with a
manual.
manual. You got to kind of get it as you go.
You learn on the job.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to thank Joli Burrell. Actually, you know what? Let the people know how they can contact you, social media, all the good stuff, business number, if you want to or not. Yeah, let them know.
Well, I am Joli Burrell. My office is Remax Affinity. We are located at 9970 Lake Forest Boulevard. We also have an insurance agency. It's the Burrell Agency. So we can find your house and we can also insure it for you. And my contact number is 504-982-JOLI 5654.
Cool. And without further ado, I'd like to thank you for giving your perspective.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
You know, it's always great to have the perspective of proficient people, professional people who who put out there what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, so another round of applause for my Sharia Moore, my two-way bell.
Throwing him aside.
Throwing him aside for Maya, baby. And the Al Heyman the podcast. Oh, my bad. Formerly the Al Heyman podcast.
Until Mayweather beat old boy next month, I'm not the Al Heyman the podcast. Once he wins, I'm back to the
Al. All right, cool. Black Stan Smith, Irv Darby.
Good morning, USA.
Yes, indeed. I'm Daphessah Drew Bayham. This Drew's putting it out there. Until next time, y'all. Peace.